And they also plan to say, we have no evidence of cyber manipulation of election infrastructure intended to alter results. Here's the bottom line. What people need to know is Obama's intel community was about to give Obama a presidential daily brief that totally dismissed, downplayed, poo-pooed, choose your word, the notion that Russia had meaningfully interfered in the 2016 presidential election.
Fox News alert, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the...
All right, let's get started. Jesse Waters and Megyn Kelly are causing quite a buzz as they dive into some heated debates about Barack Obama. They're revealing a significant amount of information about a possible plot in which Obama may have tried to undermine Donald Trump after his election to the presidency.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a...
And get this, they're not holding anything back. Kelly and Waters are digging into the drama around Russian interference in the 2016 election, pointing out how Obama's intelligence agencies allegedly minimized the threat before suddenly ramping it up. Makes you stop and think, doesn't it? And it doesn't end.
The assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 16 election. And then after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up Russian interference.
Democrats spent the last 2 decades calling men toxic and shipping their jobs overseas, and now they're asking, where did all the men go? Obama's trying to save the party he destroyed, so he's on a manhunt. But there's one problem. The brothers don't listen to him anymore, so he's trying to transition boys into girls. Barack's got his own rules for men, but these are the rules that made men leave the party.
They're also examining how Obama's public image has been undergoing a major transformation.
Michelle's outshining him. She's a big Netflix star, best-selling author, and now she's a fruit juice tycoon. And he's just left starved for attention, just the way Michelle likes it.
We had your wife Michelle on the show, and she had mentioned that for about 10 years of the marriage, she really didn't like you.
Oh, man.
So asking for a friend, how do you get back in good graces? Again, for a friend. You got a pen, so I take notes.
Let me just say this. It sure helps to be out of the White House. And to have a...
Instead of being a symbol of hope and change, he's now just another public figure facing heavy media scrutiny. Kind of like realizing your favorite celebrity isn't as flawless as you imagined. Kelly and Waters examine why some of his recent actions and appearances haven't resonated well with everyone. They don't shy away from showing that his post-presidential life isn't the fairy tale many once believed. If you enjoy these deep dives where we lay out all the facts, hitting the subscribe button would mean a lot. It keeps me motivated to share more stories and ensures you won't miss any updates. Now, let's take a closer look at Obama's shifting image and the point where things began to unravel. It's remarkable how someone who once embodied hope and progress is now under constant scrutiny. Remember when Obama was synonymous with political coolness, his charm, his wit, practically untouchable? But as Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters point out, the situation has shifted dramatically.
Here he is alone at the Trump inauguration, which really was, it was stark. All these former presidents came in with their wives, and then there he was.
It was jarring.
All alone. It was jarring, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just the spectacle of it all.
Got to spend a minute on the Obamas, because there seems to be some momentum picking up in the rumor mill about their marriage. All right, I'm going to bring you what...
It really all starts with his post-presidency projects. Take his Netflix deal, for instance, a former president sharing insights through documentaries. On the surface, it seems educational, but now people are questioning whether staying in the spotlight matters more than actually informing the public. Then there are his podcast appearances and high-profile speaking gigs. Earning 6 figures for a single speech raises some eyebrows, especially when he's warning about wealth inequality. Of course, making money after leaving office isn't inherently wrong, but the contrast is striking. It's ironic, really. A man once admired for connecting with everyday people now appears to be more focused on maintaining a brand than leading politically. And we can't forget the controversy over Russian interference in the 2016 election. Initially downplayed by his administration, the narrative suddenly took a sharp turn, leaving plenty of questions in its wake. As Kelly and Waters highlighted, Obama's administration allegedly tried to soften the narrative until the political winds shifted, almost like watching a mystery unfold, with everyone scrambling to connect the pieces. Another notable point is his role, or lack thereof, in today's political debates. These days, when he steps into the spotlight, it often seems less about leadership and more about preserving a carefully crafted image. His strategic social media posts, Netflix projects, and high-profile speeches all give the impression of someone holding tightly to relevance as it starts to slip. Even mainstream media hasn't ignored this display. It's also worth noting the whispers surrounding his personal life, particularly his marriage to Michelle. Their relationship has long been in the public eye, but some recent interviews suggest it may not be as perfect as once portrayed.
So Michelle didn't like Barack for 10 years? Well, join the club. We didn't like him for 8. So Michelle hated being first lady, always in the shadow of the president. But now she's in charge, and she's only letting Obama out of the house to do one thing: cry about Fox.
What about this country keeps you up at night?
The thing that I'm most worried about is the degree to which we now have a divided conversation.
Remember when Michelle admitted there were 10 years she didn't really like him? That candid, raw moment adds a whole new layer to an image that once seemed untouchable. His climate change efforts have also come under scrutiny. As Kelly and Waters noted, advocating for environmental protection is one thing, but having a fleet of SUVs idling outside while he dines out sends a different message.
Hot air from Barack because he couldn't care less about the environment. This weekend, the former president was in LA grabbing a bite to eat with his daughters, and obviously at a very trendy restaurant. And while the Obamas dined on $20 sushi rolls, their SUV sat idling outside, just spewing pollution into the air, idling for hours. Check out the video from the Daily Mail showing Barry just casually strolling out of the restaurant, not a care in the world, before jumping into the SUV. What happened? I thought Barry loved the environment. That doesn't look like a guy who cares about his footprint too much. And it certainly doesn't look like the guy.
That's a whole different story. His actions often seem to clash with the narrative he's been promoting, a recurring theme in Kelly and Waters' critique. Take healthcare, for example. Obamacare was supposed to be the crown jewel of his legacy, yet its rollout left many Americans confused, grappling with complex plans and rising costs. What was presented as revolutionary sometimes felt more like chaos, and Jesse Waters didn't shy away from pointing that out. It's also important to remember how his administration handled border issues. The detention centers and cages sparking debates today were actually established under his watch, though much of that criticism often gets overlooked. And then there's his foreign policy, which adds another layer to his legacy. His presidency was marked by inspiring speeches, but also by actions that stirred controversy. The drone program, intended to protect national interests and maintain peace, ended up casting a shadow internationally, affecting his reputation abroad. If you want, I can now merge all you. That Nobel Peace Prize still hangs there, almost as if it's quietly mocking the tally of drone strikes carried out during his tenure. Nowadays, whenever Obama appears, the atmosphere often feels more filled with echoes of his past achievements than with new forward-looking ideas. Remember the unveiling of his presidential portrait? It's a striking symbol of nostalgia. What he once represented seems far more vivid than anything in his latest public appearances. Even longtime supporters and new critics alike are piecing together a portrait that shows cracks in the previously untouchable image. The media, once praising him as a beacon of hope and change, now sometimes casts skeptical glances when his statements on democracy appear at odds with his current actions. Every new revelation seems to chip away at the romanticized version of him that people once held. The mystique surrounding Obama is being dismantled layer by layer, leaving many to wonder whether he's clinging to a script already written or attempting to project relevance in a world that has moved on. His post-presidency projects, Netflix deals, high-paid speeches, carefully curated social media posts, paint a picture of someone striving to maintain influence, if not leadership. His actions often appear at odds with the ideals that once defined him, from climate activism scrutinized against his fleet of SUVs to the memories of his healthcare and border policies. Every public appearance now seems orchestrated, every tweet measured, as if he is performing in the circus of modern American politics. The question remains, how long can this balancing act last before something gives? The inconsistencies and contradictions surrounding him make for a fascinating puzzle. So what do you think? Does this image reflect reality, or is it just the careful projection of a once iconic figure? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you truly think about the evolving story of Barack Obama.